Hello and welcome. This is Peter Palmiotti of Human Art Studio, and today I have Shelby Robertson. Welcome, sir.
Hello. The Gave draw.
Hello.
Yeah, I switched that up the other night.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm keeping
So
that forever. It's gonna stay forever. I just think it's funny.
you could copyright that.
Yep. He's gonna make his appearance in
Thank you.
'94.
Excellent. Yeah, if anybody watching below the video, I already put Shelby's links. Thank you, everybody who's showing up here. Rick's there. Welcome, welcome. And we have Jay Lee. Greetings. And Randall Bishop. Greetings. So yeah, I'm working on my book Retro. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a character I created basically in my late teens, and sort of been developing him ever since. And around 2009, I actually got an artist that stuck with me. His name was Rich Fuchsia. Unfortunately, he's only penciling issue 1, and I'll be doing everything after with issue 2 on. But it gives me an incredible point to start off with. And anybody that's here that's new to my channel, I know I had like 6 or 7 subscribers, so thank you very much. I'm trying to grow past 1,000. I appreciate everybody coming on board and checking out my videos and all that jazz. You could become a Patreon if you really want to support me, or just like any random video, and that helps me get seen across the YouTubes, stuff like that, all that business stuff. And yeah, we have Joe. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, Shelby, amazing artist, super career. I originally came to know your work back. Now I'm going to forget the name. What was? I did a book called Java. If you remember that book, maybe, for a small publishing company. Some company with a C. Yeah, you did a Neo something book back in the 90s. Now I'm gonna rack my brain and not remember it right now.
I honestly don't remember. There were so many like fly by night companies and
Publishers.
studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I worked for I don't even know, man. Like honestly, like 30 to 40 different publishers in the
Wow.
90s, and just kind of did a little bit of this and that, and then just bounced around, man. And it was always like chasing the dollar, right? Like trying to find companies that paid. I remember that was like a big deal.
Well, on Java, I actually got paid not by the publisher, but by the writer, creator, artist. So I was guaranteed an income on that one.
Yeah,
which wasn't always the case. Yeah, small fly-by-night companies. They're actually still around, and they're on Instagram. I just can't for the life of me remember their name, but I remember seeing your book. It was like a 3 or 4 issue miniseries, and just really liking what I saw, because I love image style artwork, and that was, I saw it in your work.
Yeah.
And shortly after, a friend of mine, Scotty Watson, said he was a friend of yours, and thereby I followed you ever since.
Okay. yeah, hundreds of creators since the 90s that kind of they disappear and reappear out of the
Yeah,
ether, right?
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
so many pieces that I've like pinups and covers that I don't even know if they ever came out.
oh yeah, it's like
I must switch my
I
camera here.
I never officially worked for Image, but I've had books published by Image. And I
Right.
remember doing a bunch of pinups, and I'm left wondering, like, were they ever published? Would these books ever come out?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that. Yeah, so much of that.
But I'm completely open tonight as far as topic. If you want to, introduce you to anybody, like, my viewers. Um, it's kind of like, even though my channel's got more subscribers, I think your videos get more views. You have a bigger following than me, definitely. Um,
It's it's all an up yeah, it's all an uphill. I steal all my viewers from Joe Sontag in your chat there. I just steal all his people.
nice.
And then I send weekly PayPals to Rick Saylor there too. I'm like, hey man, find me some viewers. And
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, we're both kind of 90s, like 90s bred, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I started.
I'm kind of just I'm pushing the self-publishing thing now, like
Yeah, definitely.
given up on the I've given up on the mainstream. I mean, honestly, about a decade ago, I gave up on the mainstream. I've kind of come back here and there, and really just for Liefeld. I was doing finishes on. I was doing art finishes, ink finishes, and regular inks for him. Um, the Bad Blood book and the Youngblood relaunch stuff.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, he would just kind of he'd hit me up when he needed me, pretty much. But I kind of put an end to that. I stopped. I haven't worked with him in a bit. He hit me up for Major. Was it Major X? The Major
Right.
X book, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be like, yeah, completely transparent. Not interested. I could care less that it's an X book. I was kind of over it at the time. I was like, no, I'm just gonna focus on my own project, and because I kind of saw uh, the career boost book for me should have been the. I got a copy of it right here. The career boost book for the mainstream for me should have been this bad boy right here, right?
Right.
Um, I I did close to 50% of the book. It's a 100-page graphic novel. It was never collected in a floppy form, right? It's only as this hardcover. Um, and yeah, man, it didn't do anything for me. It didn't, people like there was no promotion on his end, Marvel's end. Uh, you don't even know I'm even in it until you get to page 4. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. It just getting too old for this. If I was 16, 17, I would have had no issues with it. But I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this game. I'm not feeling it anymore.
Yeah. It's funny. I did a lot of random X-Men inks. Like 2 pages here, 2 pages there. Throughout my time at Marvel, back in the 90s.
Right.
And I got credit once, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I can't.
yeah, that's how it goes with them. I mean, they, especially since the whole formation of Image, they don't really want to promote artists and give them ego, and you know,
Right. Now it's all writers,
yeah.
you know. And look how that turned out.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
know
really
how they
watching what they're up to, you know.
Yeah, no one is. Nobody
Uh,
is. Nobody is.
yeah, um, but yeah, I mean, you're all about making your own properties and building your own brand. You know, your American Discord. I have your website link, Twitter, Instagram, and also your campaign link where people can get your book in demand. And
Yeah,
you
thanks,
know,
man. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's my future. It's my future, you know. And I hope that everybody who decides to make their indie project their future sticks it out. You know, it took a bit to get some following. You know.
Right. No, I think that's a process we all individually need to go through. Like, you know, because it's a learning curve and it's stress
Right.
inducing.
Right.
uh,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. So
it's
that's kind of my point with the Deadpool book. The reason I was mentioning it is that uh, based on namesake, a lot of people get the boost because they're working on a Batman book, right? Or they're working on the title. Like the title kind of gives them the boost, right? And
right,
that's what I'm saying is that I literally had zero boost. There was zero boost for me personally as an artist, as a brand, followers, social media, like literally zero boost. And I'm like, this book was supposed to be huge, and it did squat, you know. So I was like, you know, for all the headache and the effort, you know, put forward by myself, trying to make sure it was a good product. Um, on my end, it didn't equal out. It didn't equal out, man. And I'm just like, okay, so now basically, it was kind of proof to me that the comic industry has changed. Like it's
yeah,
absolutely changed, and you know, it's not going to revert. It's not going to revert back to what it was. You know.
right. No, definitely.
Yeah. So
You got to make it what you want it to be.
yeah. You just got to make it on your own, and that's a hard thing. I get a lot of people asking me like you know, tips and tricks sort of thing. And I don't know if you get that a lot from people that find out that you know, like you
Marvel and
worked on tons of
DC,
books, man.
and
Like you were
yeah,
but you were working on you were working on the good run of Aquaman, right? So um, the more memorable, I'll say the more memorable run. So
yeah, the hook days.
right, right. So you know, it's difficult for myself to give advice when it's like, you know, part of you wants to be like, do you really want to be part of this? I hate being, you know, I hate being negative about just comics in general, right? But
Right.
it's really hard. Like I don't want to lie to someone and tell them, you know, oh, this is how it works, and this is how, you know, it's how great it can be. Um,
Here's
yeah,
a secret, kid. Just do
right.
these three things, and you'll be magic.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I don't mind. Like, you know, it's like people ask me certain things, and I always give my opinion, my point of view. Um,
Right,
you know, to me, anybody wanting to do anything should expect it to be a challenge, whether it's comics or you know, sports or whatever you want to do in life. It's going to be work. It's going to be a lot of work. you got to make damn sure that you love it, because there's
Right.
going to be plenty of days where you just want to pull your hair out, if you have any.
Right. Yeah, I got plenty of hair to pull out. I don't stress that hard. I don't stress that hard over it. I really don't. I don't stress. Like now, working on my own stuff, it's a very, I don't know. Is it liberating for you? Like I feel a little bit liberated with it, where I'm the quality control is more in the back of my head, not in the frontal lobe. Because
Right.
I'm already like I got that confidence already. Like this is gonna be pretty much what I want it to be, regardless of how much focus I put on this page or this panel.
Yeah. I'm still finding the balance. It's like I'm working on my own product, but I'm also, inking for a few other people. I do commissions. I do, I freaking work at a pet sanctuary, cat sanctuary, a couple of days a week. Um, anything that pays my overhead, I'll be doing, and that takes
Yeah.
time away from me working on my passion project.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but slowly building up my social meanwhile, and just working on my skills. Most people know me as Anchor, but I'm trying to break into everything else.
There's, you know
So
what? There is a lot of anchors that are going the artist route. Uh, I'm sure you follow like Richard Friend. Richard Friend has got his
yeah,
own. He's got his own book that he's going to be pushing.
yeah,
I don't know Rich well, but I know Rich. I've known him for a handful of years, and he seems like he's kind of doing it the right way.
totally.
And there's other inkers per se that have gone, you know, uh, and decided, well, screw it, I'm just gonna do my own book, right?
Yeah, RT Bear, another one.
Yeah, yeah, art. But that's like it's always the inkers who transcend just inks, right? They kind of they're able to come in and kind of make their mark on the penciling side as well, right? So
Right. Yeah, it's when it comes down to it, it's like I'm skilled as an inker, and maybe you don't like the way I write, maybe you don't like the way I pencil, but I'm giving myself a chance to make it happen, and I know there will be enough fans out there when the time comes.
yeah,
Thank you, everybody in chat. I'm trying to catch up on putting everybody on the screen, but we're just talking away here.
yeah. I was trying to shield your stream a little bit when I was live earlier.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
I'm
and
like,
it's
hey
definitely,
guys, you guys come by. So I haven't been
yeah,
on here before with you.
yep, definitely a crowd has shown up. A lot of them have just subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it, big
Nice.
time. Oh, I just found out. Artist Inked is in the chat. We'll see if I can find him. Yeah. I have my friend Randy Bishop here in spirit, sitting behind me.
Oh, cool.
Came to visit, and it's like he's got to run while I'm doing the show, but such as things work out. but so you want to pitch your project to those that haven't heard about it?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, 94. It's just it's a throwback to the 90s book. It follows the misadventures of a trio of hitmen who are time traveling hitmen. They're really bad at their job. So they have a lot of fail in their history. They are tracked down by their employers, by another group of hitmen who also fail to take them out. So the Ragetality War book is essentially them going back to the future to get out of their contract per se with their employer, and yeah, that's it. That's pretty much where it's at. It's 90s fused action adventure. Um, Definitely a lot of throwback, a lot of how should I put it? A lot of the 90s tropes, a lot of 90s tropes in it.
Mm.
So yeah.
What you're working on specifically right this second is one of your funnier looking characters. That reminds me of when was it Doug Mensch and Paul Galassi were doing their Master of Kung Fu run, and they toss in some crazy kooky villain characters. I love that.
Yeah, this is there's a couple characters I was like, oh, I'll do this tonight. So there's these wristwatches which have personality of their own, and not necessarily like the nicest personalities. So I was like, I originally ended up on the original 94 books. I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea to do this thing with these wristwatches, right? Where they kind of like direct them where to go and stuff on their missions. And then on book 2, something, I don't even remember. I think I was focused so much on the story, I completely forgot about the element of these wristwatches. And so I didn't revisit them again. And I didn't realize it until I was going through the book. And I was like, why did I? It was just a weird fumble, and I write my stuff too, right? So I'm revisiting them. I'm revisiting them on the Ragetality War book, and so I'm just doing a lot of ridiculous stuff. Like this here's like the Spidey 300 post. It's going to be a card, in the next campaign. I've already completed all the cards for the current one, but I'm doing some just different, just kind of what I want, super ridiculous stuff.
Right. Nah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yes.
I mean, it's like my character will be his book will be a reflection of comics from the 60s to the 90s, and sort of, a little bit of heavy metal thrown in, a little bit of modern sensibility thrown in. So
yeah.
I have a love of a lot of things I grew up reading.
Yeah, and it's I mean, really, that's kind of why my focus is the 90s books, specifically the books that came out before I went pro.
Right.
Just because those were literally the books that made me want to like illustrate comics, really. And so yeah, because books prior to that, like I kind of had the fleeting idea that, oh, comics might be a good thing to do when I'm like an old man. I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking like I was thinking stuff like, oh, baseball's a reality, right? I had friends who were drafted into the Major League Baseball and stuff, so it seemed like a reality, right? Like we all played on the same teams and stuff. So, but that was not in my cards. Yeah, so only a couple of them actually, were called up, past AAA. But yeah, like it's as a kid, you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm good enough to do this too, right? And so, yeah, 90s comics, it just upped the ante. And I remember being 14 or 15, like kind of realizing that like baseball might not like happen. So I started focusing on art. Like there was a time 12, 13, I didn't draw at all for like a year. I think I was like 12 or 13. And I just decided like art was dumb. I don't know. I had some weird idea that artwork was not like cool at all. And then I came back to it. I ended up going to a comic shop and I kind of figured out, I'm like, oh my God, like all these cool books. And then happened again around 15. And then it's when I met people in the industry. I started going to conventions. I met Dan Frega and I met, like Will Spartascio and different people. And for the most part, for like a kid, they were pretty helpful, I felt like.
Right.
There were a few clowns at the time that just they didn't want to be bothered by a kid, with like serious questions about the industry. But yeah, like one of my old neighbors in California was Jim Williams III. He was one of my old neighbors in California, and
Yeah.
he didn't like looking at my stuff. And I would run into him every Wednesday, every Tuesday night, local shop. He'd go down there and help them, put their books out, pull bags, pull for holders, box holders and stuff. And no, he never liked my work, and it was because he said it looked too image. It looked too image. And he's just one of the there's many like pros around my area that had that same sort of the same inclination that Image Comics was trash and it's gonna fail,
Yeah, definitely.
And then, ironically, I still remember this. I remember being in the studio at Extreme, and they were like, Shannon came out. She was, Shelby, you got to call on line 3 someone named Jim Williams. So he was basically calling the studio trying to get work. And I was like, okay. So I told him, I was like, I'll talk to Rob. And I remember going to Rob. I went into Rob's office and I was like, hey, so there's this guy. I think at the time he was working on a Nightcrawler one shot or something. And I was like, yeah, so he's just a dude from my old hometown. But he was inquiring about if there's any books, And I still remember, Rob telling me, he goes, yeah, not interested. He said, what do you say? He goes, his art style is too old school, or something. He says something along those lines, and it just kind of made me laugh, because I was like, this is silly for several reasons, because it's like this dude who I mean, obviously he went on to work with Alan Moore on Promethea, right? But it was just that moment of this dude who would shut me down habitually is like hitting me up for a possible like gig. I don't know, man.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, nobody's today or divorced tomorrow. So
Yeah. Yeah. Silliness.
yes. So I'm gonna have my friend jump in here for a couple of minutes. His name is Randy. He's a promoter. He's gonna head home. But
Okay.
I'll be back right after.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my TED Talk. My name is Randall Dischord, and I just wanted to say hello to my buddies, John and Sutton are in the chat, and I work with Peter on 56 of Hawk, New York. See if we can get into the monitor.
Yeah, the stream it's breaking up.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
So the
don't.
stream is being up. Uh, the internet's here sucks. We have one bar, so we'll have to make it short and sweet. Hopefully, you guys can see a taste of like some of Mitch and Peter's art here, and some of mine too. The credits in this one were replicated. The matrix is glitching. Mitch is an awesome creator. This is his character, Mitch Rogers. See my hand? I'm trying to draw. So Rob and I worked on this book called Silver, The Legend of the Wolf. Very proud of this cover. Rob had this colored. So these are not my colors, but I wanted to briefly talk about this one and kind of show you sort of a Conan, Savage Sword of Conan kind of vibe. Kind of give you a taste for motorcycles, riding, werewolves. I wanted to say, my brief time here, I'm going to put some more links post interview because I got to get back. I just came up here for training. I'm in the reserves, and I got to get going, get back to duty. But I wanted to say thanks to Peter for letting me crash his place. It's pretty awesome here. All the scantily clad women really surprised me in hot tubs and full of glitter. It was also a nice change of pace. But no, thank you seriously, Peter, for everything. And I'll put links in this stream after the thing is over. So if you guys want to check out Hawk New York or other stuff, you don't know how to find it, just ask me or Peter. We're not too highfalutin that we won't reply to messages when you send them to us. So thanks again. I'll hand it back over to Peter. Stay vigilant, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, friend. Yeah. My internet sucks. I'm small town in Kentucky. This is the best lousy internet I got.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just on my side. It was
Breaking
I
up.
couldn't really hear anything. It was breaking up pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't know why it's just continuously been low bars tonight. It's never this bad. If you hear any of what I'm saying, so I think we're better off if you just talk, and I'll just ink in the background. Shelby.
What's that?
I think it's better if you just talk because my internet is not working tonight. Want to plug your projects?
Sure.
Talk.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was. They've been working behind our house too on the. Got a neighbor installing some electrical stuff. So.
I'm positive it's my weak ass internet. It's never been this bad, but timing. Yeah. Our idea to Shelby's going to have during the stream.
Oh man, the one the thing I'm literally the worst at. Well. Let's see here. See, the cats here are amazing.
I don't know why it's.
I'm gonna head over to YouTube. I'm gonna see if YouTube is any different than the StreamYard.
I'm guessing it's probably, as well as you're hearing me, is how it's turning out on YouTube, probably.
Yeah, it's like super digitized. It's not coming through.
What if?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't change anything.
Do you run?
No, I'm sorry.
Do you run through a? I guess it would be what kind of internet? What kind of internet do you guys have there?
It's Xfinity, and I'm connected. What do you call it? I'm direct connected.
Yeah.
No, I'm not using Wi-Fi or anything.
I was gonna say
But I don't understand what.
sometimes when I go through my Wi-Fi, it'll it works fine, but other times it's like Wi-Fi. It's usually one or the other. I know on my system when I I'll get rid of my sometimes I'll go through my Bluetooth or whatnot, and it usually fixes it. I don't really know your setup there.
Sometimes when I reboot my computer, it might be a tad better. Sure, I see what I can do at the moment. I mean, I pretty much have nothing running except for the screen. Turn this off. Yeah, it shows like when the internet is bad, it shows on screen like up to 3 bars, and I've been on 1 bar for half.
Yeah,
I understand why it's so bad.
It wasn't bad earlier. Yeah.
No, it wasn't at all. Yeah, sucks. One day when I'm Jim famous, I'll get better internet. And that's right, everybody's here.
Yeah,
check out Ready War Indiegogo.
Rick is a big contributor. He's a big fan of comics in general. So
I'd make him a rent right now, but I have to do that on YouTube, and I'm not going to make my internet worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have the links to the video for the Indiegogo, as well as Shelby on Instagram and Twitter, and also your website where they can buy all your previous comics on your website, I believe. Prints and stuff.
I don't know. I think right now it's actually just a forwarder for my campaign.
Oh, okay.
I tried to nuke all of my online sales when I got the campaign going, just because it makes it easier to focus on the one thing. But Well, shoot, the StreamYard stay live. Have you tried disconnecting and then reconnecting?
I could reboot if you want to just go solo for a little while.
I mean, you can do that and then see if it comes in, because it's really not like your voice is
It's
coming
not
through
working.
very, like, it's super hard to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'll switch. Yeah, I'll switch over to the. Where's this? Like, now you get to look at my beautiful face. Hello. I am ill-equipped. For this. All right, who ate dinner since my stream? I see 3 people from. Let's see, 4 people. No, Jay Lee left. 3 people from my stream. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're gonna talk about the masterpiece, which is known as Lobo. Yeah, and I would like to point out again for the 50th time that Simon Bisley is nowhere to be mentioned here, even though he's quite obviously the superstar of this production. So yeah, this trade paperback, it collects the original Lobo series, 1 through 4, including the Lobo's Back book. Let me see here. I'm pretty sure this also collects. Yeah, so it has the Christmas special as well. Yeah, so let me read this to you here. Warning, this book is not recommended for geeks, wimps, dweebs, weenies, and those with a delicate constitution, right? He's assassin to royalty and scourge of the cosmos. Let's see here. Okay, so this collects the action-packed Frag Fest, Lobo numbers 1 through 4, Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special number 1, Lobo's Back 1 through 4, and also Lobo Blazing Chain of Love number 1, and the Lobo Convention Special. Yes, so Lobo. There you go. We can talk about Lobo. What else can we talk about? Here. All right. So on my stream, I was showing off the. Did anyone ever guess? No guesses. No guesses. He still has a lot of work to do on this, but this was the. Yeah, you need to apologize on Twitter about that, Borrow Ideas. You need to apologize now and demand it. So there you go. Yeah, Phil can watch this on replay. He's going to be streaming later, I think he said. I told him I might stream snipe him. But anyways, yeah. So this is the homage cover, or print. It's not a cover; it's a print. But you guys are getting real close to that for the Ragetality War book. We can talk about Juggernaut. Should I do another sketch? Should I do another Juggernaut sketch? Or are you guys are you juggied out? I'll take the silence as you need more Juggernaut in your life. I am Gabe Droll. Gabe Droll. It is a nice piece. So, yeah, I'm doing a this one here. You probably couldn't see it that well on there. Yeah, it's an ASM 300 swipey pose, and it's one of the cute watches. He's foul mouthed. I'm just letting you know right now. So when you see him in the actual book, don't be surprised. The watches swear. I'm gonna do a little bit of editing in it, but they're foul mouthed, and they're not pleased that their watches or that they were ignored for 48 pages of Ragetality, or 94, that's volume 1. Yes, I enjoy drawing jugs. Speaking of great jugs, we can talk some more about Lobo. There's plenty. There's plenty. Did you guys see this double page splash before? This is in the first Lobo miniseries, drawn by Simon Bisley. Yeah, this is good stuff. Yeah, this is a cool splash. If Phil was here, he could tell you all about this issue here. This is the Christmas special. Yeah. And then obviously it's followed up with Lobo's back. So much silence. I'm gonna assume that you're the silence is you're in awe of Lobo. So let me this splash page right here. Let's talk about this for a minute. You got the gorilla. You got the throwback to the sleek 50s automobile. This character, I always thought this character was cool, right here. I like their little shootout in this. Oh, Peter's back. Let's review. You can help us review Lobo. Any luck?
It still sucks. It's not working.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hardly hear you. I can hear you're talking, but I can't hear.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I will. I'm gonna switch my. I'm gonna switch back to my page. There we go. Right. Yeah, chat's been talking amongst themselves while I show them 90s comics. Yeah, I'm not sure of the Stephen Hawking joke, but it must be a Twitter reference.
That's a reference to Land. This is horrible. Oh wait, I think I may be working.
It sounds better now.
Yeah, the bars went away, so that means it's coming in better. Jesus Christ. I gotta move. I'm in a small town in like the worst triangle for internet. Yeah. But I appreciate those that stuck it out. Oh man. Everybody talking amongst themselves.
Oh, the Spawn universe. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, Rick. I know people are. He's done a good job. He's done a good job advertising it. But yeah, if I do end up picking it up, it'd be solely just for the sake of owning more work by Adelso Corona. Yes, I know Adelso did some inks in it. I think he posted it was over Brett Booth. Yeah. So Adelso is one of my favorites to watch, and he's a pretty nice guy. I've run into him at several shows. We both were working on a couple of the same projects that Liefeld was penciling, so we will have small conversations about stuff here and there. So, but he's a good, genuine dude. He loves comics and he loves inking and all that. So.
Cool. I'm wondering if I should turn my camera on, or that's going to destroy me again. Let's see.
Well, I don't think that was what did it last time. I think it's just the connection just got shoddy for a moment.
Yeah. And of course, I got to turn the autofocus off.
It's funny that yours didn't drop. Usually my connection, when it starts getting below a certain amount, it'll just like stop. It'll drop my entire everything.
Yeah, mine tends to barely hang on.
Yeah, yours was hanging on for by the gonads. It was like, I'm not going.
And I say, you're useless to me.
Yeah, that's frustrating though when that happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen so much here anymore. Like I said, like when it does, it nukes itself. It's not even me like messing with it. It's just like it tells me it's done. It's like, nah, you're not doing anything right now. I'm gonna just shut down.
Right. It's crazy. Technology. So who are your some of your like art influences early on?
When I first started, when I first started drawing comic stuff, I was like sixth grade. It was grade school, like fifth, sixth grade. That was I was in sixth grade when Amazing Spider-Man 298 hit the shelf, and a friend of mine, Steve, he brought it to school. He ended up getting the book, and he brought it to school, and that thing got passed around, man. Like that issue got passed around, and that was literally like my introduction to McFarlane. And without even knowing it, though, I had actually already owned the Hulk 340. It was the Wolverine one, just because I liked the cover. Like I remember buying it because I liked the cover piece. But the for whatever reason, Todd's like actual name was not on my radar until you know his penciling on Spidey. So yeah, McFarlane, obviously Silvestri. I mean, Silvestri is the one that really made me like focus on trying to learn how to draw anatomy and trying to learn, certain aspects of comics that other artists don't really focus on. Like he was less about the flash, more about the construction of a page and the construction of page layout, stuff like that.
Yeah, his Wolverine was really loose, but magic.
Yeah, yeah. I got a friend who was like really infatuated with his Wolvie, and I don't know, like I got into it later on, but when it was first coming out, it just didn't really do it for me after seeing what he had done on the Uncanny X-Men books, right? I just like the lines just were kind of lackluster to me.
Right.
I appreciate them later on. I appreciate them, like I appreciate them now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when they were first coming out, they didn't do anything for me. My buddies, like I said, my friends who were collecting it. I mean, you would have thought it was the best comic to ever be released, if you were to ask them. But for me, I was like, because I was comparing it. I was like, nah, but if you look at X-Men 226 and compare it, like this book sucks, Like I hate using that term with Mark in the same sentence, but it just was not. It was just different. It was different.
Yeah.
But like I said, I grew to appreciate it later on. Kind of like Kirby. Like when I was a kid, I used to think Jack Kirby's artwork sucked. I was like, dude, this is just boring. Like,
Sacrilege. Yeah, I mean, it's like me and my brother were both picking up books, and in his pile was Mark's Arrest Wolverine. And I liked it, but I definitely appreciate it as I gotten older. I appreciate it more now, for sure. Just like Kirby. Like I was always a fan of Kirby, but I really didn't get the nuts and bolts of what he was doing until I looked at it later.
Right.
I mean, it's like I'm inspired by everyone now. It's like good, bad, new, old, whatever, I come to collecting comics as an art collector, really. I only read the books after the fact, after looking at the art.
Yeah. that's pretty much where I was, my teenage year. Well, it was because I was trying to, I started figuring out like this might be an actual career choice. So um, I didn't like the prospect of, working a fast food joint or something. I was like, no, I want to make money doing something I actually like enjoy doing.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh, take care, Mitch. Good having you around. Yes, welcome, sir. There's so many people here.
Nefarious, how's
NTM,
it going? Yep.
you know, Nefarious, he's in everybody's circle.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, everybody. If I didn't welcome you individually, definitely appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm noodling away at this piece.
Nerds. That's funny. Yeah, to me, like the whole comic book industry is just one big art gallery for my eyes to feast on.
Yeah.
And I hope that, when I get to doing everything of my book, penciling and inking and coloring and all that jazz, that, that other people appreciate what I'm doing. I've definitely been in this industry long enough to have so many opinions about everything. So
Yeah.
I feel like doing our own books is a way to say, hey, this is what I like and this is what I want to see on the page that nobody else is doing.
Yeah, it goes back to like there is definitely they are self-gratifying when you're doing an indie book, because it's like that's your chance to kind of show the things that the things that you appreciate with books in general. Unless you're a sadomasochist and you just want to draw all the stuff that you hated drawing at companies, which does occur as well. Some of that stuff is necessary, for good storytelling, but
Yeah.
mostly fun stuff.
So I got a question from Emmer Glitch, if I'm pronouncing it even right. So Retro, I mentioned previously, is a character I created in my late teens, and I've been developing him ever since. He's sort of your typical, I go by metahuman. He's stronger than the average man. He's faster than the average man. He heals quicker. He doesn't have any like fantastical powers. But I wanted to do a comic more along the lines of where heroes are heroes and villains are villains, and he has friends, he has a girlfriend, he has connections, people he works with in the streets. He is based in New York. He lives in Brooklyn. But he's a protector of the 5 boroughs. most importantly, he is the master of parkour. So he bounces around the city, fighting crime and evil doers. Yeah, wants to just keep the city safe and take out the other metahuman villains and have a good life. And he has a day job working in Wall Street. He's a finance guy, so that makes him slightly unique in the superhero vein. But I'm really excited to be developing the character and his, cast of friends. Issue two is going to have a villain I created called Button Man. Kind of a slightly goofy villain. That his likeness will be that of my brother Jimmy. So Jimmy will be making an appearance in issue 2. Because years and years ago, Jimmy did a Marvel Comics Presents story with Ghost Rider, and he took a bunch of photos of me, and I'm one of the characters in that story. I was a bum. So as my revenge, Jimmy gets to be a villain in my book. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's just really it's a lot of work, making your own comics, but it's equally fulfilling.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Nefarious, what's going on with Retro? Well, just working on Retro during these streams and sometimes off the stream. This is page 17 that I have before me. Page 17 of 28 pages for the first issue. So I got a ways to go. What would be the real challenge is Rich penciled the last 8 pages, so page 20, last 9 pages? I forget what it is, but I think from page 20 to 28, he used a different style that's a lot more cross-hatching, so that would be interesting to approach.
So he switched it up. Sorry, he switched it up midway.
Well, I mean, because I sort of been working on this book on the side. He actually penciled most of the book back in 2009, and only recently penciled out the last batch of pages. So his style changed throughout the years, and he just went with his current style.
Yeah.
Which, I don't blame him. But I'll tie it in with the coloring and lettering and all that, so it'll be fine.
Who are you using to letter your book?
A friend of mine, Carrie Kelly, does his own. He has his own books out through Red-Handed Studios.
Okay.
I basically asked him years ago. It's like, I know there's a bunch of other letters I know, but just right place, right time. I asked him. He said, "Sure."
Yeah, good lettering. That was one thing that my original 94 book suffered from. The first issue. So I originally lined up a friend of mine, Mike, and he actually he was in the middle of lettering issue 2, and then I ended up getting a message. He passed away. It was a freak thing. his wife messaged me when I was on my way to Kansas City, let me know that it occurred, and so I was really sad. But yeah, he essentially had all the pages, so I had to retrieve issue 2 and 3. And I didn't even use what he had finished on 2. I ended up just doing it all myself. But my lettering is really bad. Like I definitely should have hired someone. I just kind of figured, I need to get this thing out. So yeah, I learned my lesson. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a letterer.
Yeah.
Not going to do this again.
I've done very little bit, but I know I pretty much suck, so I'll leave it to the professionals.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when when it's not your forte, you're better off just hand over the reins, let someone else take over on that. Fortunately, I've gotten pretty good feedback on my colors, so I'm still doing that. Still doing coloring. Yeah. Lettering is the big one. I'm like, nah, I'm not even gonna try. Not even gonna try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never again. Never again.
So I'm asked, where can we find Retro? Well, I did an initial Kickstarter for just some funding to make some progress on the book. And that was a short Kickstarter, my first solo Kickstarter, because I've been part of other people's campaigns. So that was a lot to take on and handle. Crowdfunding is a trip. But so what I'm doing is I'm going to finish this book this year, print copies for everybody who's pledged already, get those in their hands, and then I'm going to be doing Indiegogo. So I have my mind set on this year that I'll be doing Indiegogo for issue 1 for anybody who hasn't pledged, be able to get a chance to get issue 1. And I think that will be it. Like the Kickstarter was only 5 days. The Indiegogo will be a full-fledged crowdfunder, so it'll be 30 days. And I think, above and beyond that, you won't get the full 40-page book. So I recommend you go through the crowdfunder when the time comes, because you get the extras and whatnot in the back of the book. There'll be lots of fun stuff.
What kind of stretch goals and stuff like that do you have in mind?
Well, I mean, for the Kickstarter, I had a bunch of prints. I mean, it was my first Kickstarter, and I was mostly concerned with people getting the book. So above that, I mean, I had a lot of things in mind. Like anybody who's pledged to my Kickstarter is automatically going to be getting like magnets and stickers and a bunch of extra stuff. So when I do the Indiegogo, I'll probably restructure the whole campaign so that it can include all that stuff. All the extras I'm going to be throwing in.
Yeah.
Because I it was a learning experience. It's like I actually rushed to do it because I'm like, if I don't do it this week, I'm never going to get the balls to do it.
Right.
It was one of those pivotal moments. It's like, you better get off your ass and just do this. Don't worry if you're not ready.
Times.
Yeah.
I did get yelled at a bit though for not promoting some pre-launch on it though. So I don't think like any of my future stuff, I'll never do it again without some sort of pre-launch campaigning.
Yeah. No, I mean that's become the norm now. Everybody is able to set up pages and say, here, you'll be emailed when the campaign goes live. That's pretty excellent that we didn't have before. That's smart.
Yeah.
What I did was I think it was I did 7 hour the first 7 hours of the campaign I streamed, and then the final 8 hours I streamed.
Mm.
And it was just about 80 people who pledged, just under $2,000. I consider that a huge success, not knowing anything about really what my audience was into or cared about.
Yeah.
I mean, that really, it tests and shows you like who your fans really are and who gets behind the campaign and who helps you share it out and all that jazz.
Yeah, that can it can make and break a campaign if you got a backers who are passionate, about your book and stuff. That's
Definitely.
definitely a huge deal.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten the book out there, then just doing it based off of your previous work,
Right.
And that's kind of where I stand. It's like, yeah, people know my name maybe from stuff I did around here or there, or whatever. But it's like I considered like in September I'll be in this industry for 30 years. I really consider this the second phase of my career, which is more important than the first phase.
I 100% agree. I'm right there. Yep, 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I said, I just don't. After seeing kind of the reception or the lack of uh, from my contribution in the Deadpool book, like Deadpool's, it's a top 5 character, right? As far as
Right.
visibility, I'm like, the fact that this thing brought nothing to the table for me, just kind of was it shouldn't have been a Hail Mary. It should have been a for sure thing,
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't was very. It was an eye opener. And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, screw the mainstream. I'm done. Regardless where I end up, independent for life, man. Independent for life. And I really should have kept. I kind of had that bearing, anyways. My last 15 years or so have been independent, self-published type properties. They're not. With the exception of image this, image that. Those are things also that no one really cared. I'd have to promote it. Like, why am I promoting an image comic? To make sure it gets sales.
Yeah.
That's kind of their job, right? Like, I don't know.
It should be. Yeah.
Yeah, they just, it's just they have it's kind of a strange company. For a company to have so many prerequisites for what they want and need to publish your work, and then to completely not promote the project. It's like, why is this even coming out through here? They obviously don't care about this book's success.
Yeah. I look at it this way. It's like they dropped the ball on a lot of things, and we noticed along the way, Like, why aren't you promoting this book? This could have been a hot seller, but you're just sitting on it and doing nothing and blah, 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 and this and that and the other thing. It's like, we've worked on plenty of books that, if they, regardless of the quality of the book or whatever, if they put their power behind it, everything could have been a huge success. But that has taught me a little bit of how I'm going to deal with promotion of my own thing. It's like, well, thanks for the lessons.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely a thing with I don't even want to call them the big two anymore, because they're not. To me, they're not.
Not what they used to be. Yeah.
No, not at all. Those days are done. They're hardly recognizable as the same publishers anymore. So yeah, stuff changes, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. And unfortunately, for all of us old schoolers, it's for the worse. But
yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter what they do or don't do or whatever. It's like, everybody has their dream. Like, well, if they just do these 3 things or whatever, and they'll be a huge success again, and that's probably true. But it's like, well, I know a lot of creators doing their own books, and it's like, this is what the present is. This is what the future is. It's all these individual comic book creators, or those with individual skills, getting together with others of individual skills and making their own books. And that's the industry.
Yeah. And huge doors have been opened with the printing, even just printing. The fact that you can print a 10 copy edition, a 10 print run of something, that didn't exist. That didn't exist even 20 years ago. But I remember printing a book. I remember self-publishing a book, and I had to print 400 books of overstock on that sucker, just because of the fact that it was they had minimums. They had to print minimums. And now I could go to a press and say, I only want 5 of this, and I want them individually serialized, and that's a reality. And you can get them at a very reasonable rate. It's not going to break the bank. So
yeah,
I think that's definitely a big game changer for us as independents, with the ability to print without having the insane overhead. That used to be required on a book.
And really the only thing we have to battle is distribution. But there's possible answers coming up. I know some people who make books out in England also have like an American printer, and there's ways around it.
Yeah.
So you're not paying stupid fees for shipping long distances and all that.
Oh, you're talking fulfillment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't explored that. I've always handled all my international. I've always taken care of it myself. There are Canadian. I know Canadian publishers who they use fulfillment on the state side, because they don't want to pay all that shipping and that. Yeah.
Right.
The hurdle of that would be. The hurdle that I would imagine would be if your book's supposed to be signed, right?
Right.
If you're offering signed editions for everyone who backs it, and then all of a sudden someone who because they live in Sweden, they don't receive a signed copy, right? I think that's the main thing I would be worried about.
Yeah, but it's like, a couple of packages versus all the packages, or
Yeah.
so.
Well, the Canadian campaign runners. I'm speaking of. It was all because majority of their backers were stateside.
Oh yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, no one got signatures. They were just like, nope, just ship them. And I'm like, I heard about that. I was like, oh, okay. This is how we do it. We just make up rules as we go, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you get, people who are like, they dropped the $27 for ship, right?
Yeah.
And then they get their package with the $4.28 on the stamp. You know what I mean? It's just it's bad. It's a real quick way to lose. Backers and potential backers. When that kind of stuff gets around.
Yeah.
Try to be aware because people know. People know. Like they know what they spent. They know if it's value in that. It's another thing I push when I promote just indie books in general is that even though because funding, that's the thing, funding is hard when you're paying 20 different people, and you got maybe not 20, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have production to take care of, and it can get pricey, and 50 backers isn't going to cut it, so therefore you kind of have to anticipate, well, the book's going to be X amount, because you can't give diamond pricing when you only have 40, 50, or even 25 backers. Like it doesn't cut it for the book to be a real thing. So
Right.
I always kind of push the fact that essentially every crowdfunded book, in my opinion, is a limited edition, because it's limited to those who backed it, right?
Right.
And then comparatively, you got I'm going to use Marvel as an example. Not too long ago, it might have been over a year. It was over a year ago. It was pre-COVID. They were doing those the Venom variants, right? With the
Right.
Todd McFarlane covers, which was like repurposed splash pages and large panels, and they were turning them into covers, right? So they were like, "Oh, this one's limited to 500 copies, therefore it's an $1,800 variant, right?"
Right.
And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, if 500 copies constitutes $1,000, most of my books are runs at 50 and 75. They're not hundreds.
Yeah.
So I just use that. I use that example, for people. I'm just like, look, it's literally, you're not going to find this book anywhere else. Like, you're not going to find it, not going to find it on eBay unless someone decides that they hate it or whatever,
Right.
It's just not something you find. So, and especially if it's a very inclusive type book where there's perks to the book that you only were able to get during that campaign, and so forth. That can't be replicated in a mass-produced book.
Right. Yeah. Like, I have ideas of doing like, the professional slick version will be on the campaigns, but you can get the cheaper version in stores. And it may take me a while to get there, but so like the more inexpensive version will be available, but it will be also available at a later date, not
Right.
after the campaigns and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
there's a few examples of people who've done the opposite of that, where they've done the crowdfund, and then stuff starts showing up in the store first, and then that can leave a bitter taste to the people who helped, like, pretty much fund the book.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just another one of my weirdo watches. Yeah, so basically these watches in my book, they're verbal instigators, but they're also part of what makes time travel possible for these characters. So yeah,
Cool.
just different. I wanted to give them a little bit of some attitude. Give them some personality, since I obviously I completely dropped the ball on the first volume. I had a pretty cool idea that I didn't do, and then I was like, shoot, man, like I should have wrote it down. There was just so many things that occurred during the publishing side of it, that I was not focused on the book anymore when I was working on it. It was like more about churning it out, getting people their books, and all that.
Yeah, I see it everywhere. It's a learning curve, like I said. It's a lot to do and take care of and master, and and we're trying to market and promote the heck out of it, and as well as do a quality book, and people are understanding, to a certain degree.
Man, I love these pins, and I also hate them. they're when I do these cards, I don't use nib or anything. I usually stick to just fine liners.
Right.
But yeah, once in a while they decide that they want to be difficult. I don't know what inking instruments do you use?
I'm traditional, Winsor Newton brush, Hunt 102s, technical pens for, any kind of straight line work.
Right. Yeah, I kind of hop between. A lot of my work I do just straight up like brush work for outlines and all that. But yeah, these cards and stuff, I usually just use fine. I just line them out.
I thought somebody was knocking at your door.
Oh, and I'm just like banging this thing out, trying to get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've actually noticed some of the artists I follow are doing their inking with just regular fine line markers, and I'm like, that makes sense. Like the lines are so freaking exact. I kind of wondered in the back of my head, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
that makes total sense.
Scott Williams is almost exclusively fine liner now.
Yeah.
He'll do a little bit of brush work, like it seems like he kind of takes stuff to the finish line. He'll use like the like the Windsor Newtons and that, like this guy. But it seems like he goes one way or the other. He'll stick to this one for like 90%, or he'll just completely run with it with Pigmas and whatever else.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's like I've always done traditional and loved traditional. I could, I always say I can pretty much do inking for the rest of my career, but the opportunities and decent money isn't there. So
it's yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think is kind of on its way out the door. Inking is one, coloring is another. There's a lot of artists coming up who's expected to color their own work now.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thing. As soon as they come up with a way to automate lettering, that's going to be the next, and then we'll witness the demise of comics as a trade. Because I mean, really, it's when you remove the human element from comics, you don't. It's no longer a comic. That's just my opinion. But
what was there was something recently? I forget what it was, like an app or something, Comic Creator or whatever bullshit. And they had what looked like some really fascinating ways to letter your comic, and it was automatic. But it's still not quite what you need.
no, and you can tell. You can tell. Like it's very easy to tell anything that's automated. Like even I mean, I know a lot of people who are very good working digitally, but there's no hiding it. There's no emulation tool to hide.
Yeah.
Anything that auto tune touches, you can hear it. I mean, it's there. No matter what you do, you can still hear. You can see the polish. You can see it. There's no getting around that. So, I know I like the idea of it with the whole less mess kind of approach. But I'm an original art. I like original artwork. Like I don't like. I like the organic feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mistakes is what makes it kind of unique.
Absolutely.
And there's a level of refined work that I think, in a way, could very easily turn someone off who is aspiring.
Yeah, but I think the fact that more people are making their own comics is the way in now. It's not like go work for this company, go work for that company. They're hiring from people from third world countries.
Right.
It's like go make your own comic, go make your own property. Whatever you love, put it on a page, and that's your way into the industry. I mean, it kind of always was. There was zines back in the day, or just ash cans, or mini comics, or whatever, and just make one of those. Get your ideas out there. Get your what you want to see.
It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely an approach. Um, yeah, the crowdfunding thing, finding the audience through crowdfunding and that is a huge, it's a huge win. It's a huge step.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do it.
if this existed in the '90s,
That would have been.
comics would be very different today.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah, there'd be a lot more success and a lot less big hitters, I guess I will say, who just have a lot more influence, kind of hopping around. Because that was the thing, you had a lot of even back then, you had a lot of gatekeeping back then, right? Like you had a lot
Right.
of companies just like, oh, if you're not the friends with the right person, you're not going to get this book, or things like that. And the internet kind of destroyed that whole approach, because it's like, oh, you know what, you can't tell me no because I'm everywhere now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, it's like the little guys become the influencers and big names on the internet, and then they start making their own product, and those are the big sellers.
yep. So I don't know how long you go with this.
Yeah.
I should be going pretty soon. I gotta go in there and see what's going on for dinner, because it's getting kind of late here with our daughter. It's about 7.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was great having you on, and sorry for
Thanks for
the
inviting me.
crappy internet. It
Uh,
worked out.
technical issues happen. Yeah, technical issues happen. I was able to shill the logos back trade paper back to people.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing joke. I'm in a bunch of streams and people are always like, I bring that out once in a while. Just logo, talk about logo.
That's it. But yeah, great having you on. Once again, anybody listening, watching, go below the video. All of Shelby's links, especially his latest product on Indiegogo in demand. You can go pick up a copy or 12.
12.
12.
It'd be expensive. It's like $25, man. It'd be pretty expensive. Yeah.
Get them for all your friends.
Yeah. Buy them for everybody.
Yes. But yeah, great talking to you. Great hanging out with you.
Yeah,
I've
thanks,
always been a fan of your work, and look forward to all your creations coming up. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Onwards and upwards, man.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Give it a like. Smash that subscribe button. Become a Patreon if you want to really support me. All that fun jazz. Hey, Waggy. Yeah, that's it, everybody. Until next time. I'm doing these streams pretty much daily at various times. No set schedule. But love you all. Keep making your own.